Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of TV, film, sports, pop culture, everything really. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on Twitter, you know me as PD Beats. I hope everyone is staying safe during these self-quarantine days. Stay safe, everyone, and be sure to stay home. Listen to all the health authorities and stay home so we can all be safe. My guest is an actor who you will recognize from a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies, to name a few: Silicon Valley and Dodgeball. We are with Chris Williams. Chris, welcome to Popternative, man.
Woo, thanks for having me. And remember, as Dwight said in Dodgeball, just wash your hands. Whatever you do, wash your hands. So
it's true.
People wash your hands, yes.
Yeah, they said that. So, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Sure, man. My pleasure. I mean, I'm really busy, going out and doing stuff. So it's not like you're like, well, where is Chris? Oh, he's at home.
But it's pretty cool how these things kind of come to be. I mean, I was doing a live stream with Spencer Garrett, and you showed up and checked out the live stream, and then I invited you to do my show, and here we are.
And
technology.
You invited me a year ago, and I just totally missed the boat.
Yeah.
It's timing. I have to let Spencer go first, and then I can come after him.
No, absolutely. It is crazy. Whether you're an actor, a writer, a musician, you're all storytellers. What did Chris Williams decide he wanted to be a storyteller?
Oh man, my first storytelling episode was I was in nursery school, and I played a mop that got married to a Raggedy Ann doll, and I was like, oh, so I get to hold the hand of early on I knew, oh, this is where I should be performing, and then you get the ladies and all that, so I knew early on I was a ham. My parents are both music teachers. My sister's an actress as well, so we've been performing all our lives pretty much.
Very cool. And, you've been a part of some really cool TV shows, really cool films as well. I mean, is there one you prefer over the other, or is that kind of asking you, who's your favorite child? It's kind of hard to pick between the two, right?
Yeah, it depends on what what part of the film. The most fun was Dodgeball. I mean, we spent 3 months, and it was one of those projects the reason, the way I got it was I was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I played Crazy Ass Killer.
Yes.
And the casting directors for that were casting a new movie or having a reading for a new movie called Dodgeball. And they needed someone to read the role of Dwight. So since I was hot off of doing Curb, they asked me to come to the reading. And in the reading was Justin, Vince Vaughn, Ben, and some other random people that were not in the movie, but were, very good actors and stuff. So I got to do the reading of Dwight, and I played him very straightforward and nerdy, and they wanted more urban, I guess. So I did a little character with Dwight, and my idea was to his headband is color coordinated. He always has something on his head at all times. So in any scene, you'll see my headband is coordinated with my outfit.
And don't worry, Justin, that guy's just a total jerk.
Right, that was all improv. So they allowed us to do a take or two, and then you could just do whatever you want. And I was like, boop, dead, just like that. My cousin Ray Ray. But we spent 3 months, and we spent a week in Vegas as well, and it was just a lot of fun. It's one of my first movies shooting away for an extended period of time in a main role. So I just loved it. We had so much fun. We had dodgeball school actually, dodgeball camp for a week.
Wow!
Where we were in a gym learning how to play dodgeball and getting sore and throwing at each other and actually playing. That was one of the best parts too.
It's kind of hard because, you guys are also very busy. And like you said, it was 3 months of shooting this film and you guys were together and you're busy, right? And maybe there's not that much time to think about it. But Was there kind of a moment in time where you were like, you know what, we might have something special here? Because it became a cult classic film, right?
Yeah, it all really started with the script. When I first read Rosalind Thurber's script, it was it was on the edge. And what I like the most is smart, funny. I mean, really, really sharp, smart aspects to it, but really silly and dumb things. My favorite movie is Young Frankenstein. So Mel Brooks has that also, intellectual, ridiculously silly aspects to it. And so when I read the script, I was like, I wanted to be a part of it so badly. And I didn't even get the role for a while because they were going through auditions and auditioning people. And since I had done the role of Dwight in the reading, they had me read with other characters, like the one who played Joel Moore played Owen, who plays like my best friend, my counterpart. And Rainn Wilson read for that. Jason Segel read for that. Yeah. Like all these great actors read for it. And when Joel came in, so I got to read opposite all of these different actors in my role, but I hadn't gotten the role yet. And I'm like, well, do I have it or not? And then they finally said I could have it. But in shooting it, it was so smart, funny. There were so many talented people in the cast. It was bound to be a success.
No, absolutely. Moving forward, like Dodgeball, like I could talk about that forever. I mean, the stuff that Ben Stiller does in that movie is like, it's nuts. It's crazy.
It was on the page, though. It really was in Rawson's script. It was so funny. And then we got to tweak a little bit with it. And
White
when you
Goodman,
have all those comedic minds, it's pretty funny.
And look, like, you're an OG of Average Joes. People are using Average Joes now as the name of their dodgeball team, as the name of their softball team, as the name of their hockey team. I mean, look at the legacy that you guys have created.
I know, it's pretty cool. And Dodgeball League started popping up too.
Dude, Dodgeball is so much fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It would be, you know what? And it's a question I was going to ask, just a general. It was a general content question, but you can kind of tie it in. I mean, there's so many opportunities now with like live content. I mean, I'm doing 4 or 5 live Instagram streams a night. You know what I mean?
Wow,
from my house. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Have you ever thought about the idea of like creating your own content and maybe even like making like a web show about Dwight? That would be kind of funny.
I mean, about a specific character, you mean?
Yeah, like let's say you made your own web show about Dwight, and you have the headband and everything, and it's like a series on Instagram, like 5 minutes on Instagram TV of like him doing things around the house, kind of a little bit like a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's true.
I think we're on to something. I think you're kind of looking. You're like, man,
all home trying to think of some content to come up with because no one's acting with anybody now.
Dwight live on IG. If you're allowed to reprise that character.
And I've actually been doing some. I just did a thing with my friend Gary Anthony Williams, who's doing actors alone. So he'll do 30 seconds. Have you seen them? He does 30 seconds.
Yes, but I also saw your push-up cop-out with the mozzarella strings.
Oh, yeah.
I laughed pretty hard when I saw that. I'm not going to lie.
Exactly.
But so moving like to Silicon Valley, I mean, like, that's one of the biggest shows in the comedy sphere in the last like 5 years. Like, people talk about that all the time on HBO. Your character Hoover, who's like a security guard for a guy who you have in your shirt.
No, I'm head of security. I'm not a security guard.
Head of security.
I'm ex special ops. So
you're and you love Gavin. You love protecting him.
Exactly. Well, I looked at it as like I do my job. Like even when I had to fire Gavin. And, in season 5, I had to fire him. It was all about my job and my allegiance to the company. And because I'm a company man. I was ex-military. And that's so, my allegiance.
Do you know there's 2 scenes that come to mind. Like I always joke around this house. We're always like, oh my God, sir, come here, sir. We always just like, it reminds us of Hoover because that's like what you do. You're so like intense and like on point. But there was one episode where I think it was Amazon is about to buy Hulu.
Right.
and there's the negotiation.
Oh, right. When I looking at him.
Yeah, and then but like you're protecting him, right? Because they're saying like, no, we don't want to use the Hulu name. It's gonna be all under Amazon. And you're like, do you remember? You're like going,
yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm hovering over like no one messes with with Gavin, when I'm around. Exactly.
But you know what, man? It's like, and it goes like it reminds me of those days like Seinfeld. Like there's so many like the non full-time characters of Seinfeld. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that has to do with the kind of giving back and kind of giving forward from, the showrunners and the cast and crew, right? Kind of sharing their wealth a little bit, giving you an opportunity to do like Hoover like that.
Yeah, the amount of writing, Hoover was only supposed to come on for a couple episodes.
He's on a lot.
I was in 20 episodes, which was good. But with the limited time that you're given, you got to really, dive into it. And the writing on Silicon Valley was so amazing, so sharp and quick, and so it's easier for me to create a character that was strong in his own right, but still the adoration that I had for Gavin more than anything else was like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I would do a list of like my top 10 sitcom characters of all time, Hoover's in there. Like I'm telling you, no, it's a good one. Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is number one. Because come on, that's like one of the best. But no, you really hit it out of the park with Hoover, man. So congrats.
Thank you.
And I hope people keep telling you that.
Yeah, I do get some Hoover love. But it's funny when people recognize me from certain things. I mean, I get a couple Hoovers every now and then.
Dodgeball.
Black and Hispanic people, Friday After Next.
Really?
They go, "Hey, man, you the crackhead, right?" I was like, yes, I was the crackhead, yes.
So that's actually a good segue. It's like what questions I'm going to ask. So there's going to be stuff that you're known for, but then there's going to be some projects that might not be the biggest projects, but that kind of hold close to your heart that you really enjoyed to do.
Yeah.
So what are kind of the projects, you mentioned a few of them, like Dodgeball, Silicon Valley, Friday After Next. What are some projects that you were like known for the most? And then what are some projects, like part B of this question is like, what are projects that might not be the biggest ones that are close to your heart in terms of you really enjoyed working on?
Right. Number one, I'm recognized for Crazy Ass Kill and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Of course.
And then I get Silicon Valley because that's more recent. And then Dodgeball every now and then.
But not as much.
I'm older and I have a beard or a mustache. But one of the movies that I did that I'm not most proud of, but I'm really proud of is I did a movie called The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. And
I had 8 scenes in the film, and I was in complete drag for the whole film. So it was challenging because I'm a bigger guy, but to be a transvestite in the 60s, I had to really commit to try to be my acting being small and delicate and light.
Was there a lot of research involved too?
Huh?
Was there a lot of research involved too in a role like that?
Yeah, actually, I had to learn how to walk in 4 to 5 inch heels and make it look like I can walk in 4 to. I mean, like I do this all the time. So I got 5 hours of waxing.
Wow.
My chest, my back, my arms, my legs, my pits. So I was like, so there was some physical transformation as well as, really, really considering being as soft and as feminine as I could be, even though I'm a man. So, and all my scenes were with Anthony Hopkins. And I'm like, if you spend a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks with just you and Anthony in a car, you could ask him any question. And I was like, oh my God, like I'll never get this opportunity again. And I remember he invited me to his trailer because he was writing music. So I went to Anthony Hopkins' trailer. He's playing me music that he wrote, and I'm in full drag. And I'm like, you can't write this. You can't, like, how would this ever, And he told me a story about how when he was a kid, he was such a fan of Charlie Chaplin. He wrote Charlie Chaplin a letter, and Charlie Chaplin wrote him back.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
Oh my God. I was like, do you have the letter? He's like, no, they threw it away. But the ironic part is when he was nominated for Silence of the Lambs, he was on the set of Chaplin.
Wow.
So I'm like,
That's
those
crazy.
are things that like just taking in the experience and taking in the wisdom that and the kindness and generosity that Anthony Hopkins gave me on that film was it was an amazing experience. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Unbelievable. And
Yeah.
one quick question too before we wrap up, kind of goes to it's crazy to hear those stories, man. Like that Anthony Hopkins, like this is why I made this show. I want to hear kind of the behind the scenes stories that no one else is gonna hear.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like
Of
the
course.
point of these kind of platforms. But I think one of the reasons why Silicon Valley was very popular is because how realistic it was. I was actually joking around with some of my friends years back when it was on, where there's that scene where Gavin's looking at all the computer programmers,
Right.
and how there's a tall one, a skinny one, a chubby one, right? And my friends that work in like IT said like that's how it is.
Yeah, well, they have literal tech guys that come in. Like I said, Cepheus, and they came in like, no, Chris, it's Cepheus, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, they have people that are on top of them that have been in the tech game and know the tech game, and that's why the writing's so brilliant because it's so specific and so spot on.
So I gotta get ready down like later tonight. I'm doing some live streams. Could
Nice.
Hoover tell me how important it is to get ready for these live streams right now? Like what would Hoover say? Like I can't slack. It's really important that I do these live streams.
Yeah. So one of the things about the live streams is you have to understand that before you do them, please wash your hands. I don't care. This coronavirus is very deadly and dangerous, and we take every precaution. So make sure you breathe and wash your hands.
That is awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
And
it.
hopefully we could do a live like this week. I mean, we have time.
Yeah,
Huh?
let me know.
Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
On Instagram, I'm Chris.Williams_, and I'm on Twitter, I'm Chris_Williams_.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
It was really cool to talk about Silicon Valley and Curb and the Anthony Hopkins stuff. I'm still thinking about that. That was an awesome story. But this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Join us on Instagram as well. We're doing a lot of live streams in the evenings, which is pretty cool. Stay safe, everyone. And until next time, this is Chris Williams and Petey Beats signing off.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.